Hello, everybody. It is, what day is it? Tuesday? Yes, Tuesday night. Sorry, it's Tipsy Tuesday. Hello, people. All right, just throwing on some, I'm still deciding on this color. Now, my light is just crazy right now. I'm still trying to decide on this color. This is one of our metallic liquid lipsticks, and they're coming out next month, and it's like this kind of like orangey color. I'm going to turn down my Diva light. One sec. Trying to see if I can get a bit less light. So it's kind of like an orangey, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. I know this is about foundation selection, but I just don't know what I think about this lip color. So you guys can tell me. I don't know. Okay, so how to pick the right foundation shade is what this is actually about. So I'll stop talking out loud to myself. So I think one of the big stresses and the big reason I never wore like foundation ever is I would go into the store and I would go into like Shoppers Drug Mart and I'd ask one of the girls behind the counter and I'd be like, okay, I kind of want to buy foundation. I didn't really know how to wear it, but I also really didn't understand how to pick out a shade. So I'd be like, oh, this one's brown. It looks like me. And then I would look and then I'd be like, oh, they're all kind of brown. And I would have no idea what I was doing. And the biggest thing when you're in those stores is that you're not using natural light. You're using these like bright neon, what are the names? Fluorescent light. The fluorescent lighting is the worst for picking foundation shades, but you still can do it. So I will give you some tips on how to pick a right foundation. So the first thing is you have to decide what your skin looks like in the winter. So are you very light? Are you light? Are you light medium? Are you medium? Are you medium dark? So are you dark? Those are essentially the foundation shades. So I am like a light medium in the winter. So when you're going to look at that, so that's step one. So decide on what you are. Are you light? Are you light medium? And that's where you want to start. So I'm going to be closer to like, depending on, and this isn't necessarily, I'll use some of our products to kind of explain using the foundation shades, but it doesn't really matter what foundation brand you're using. It matters about where you're looking. So I would be, if this was light and this was dark, I wouldn't be in the middle. I would be closer to the lighter side because I'm a light medium in the winter time. The second thing is your wrist. Okay, so you're going to look at your wrist and you're going to see what color your veins are. So what color are your veins? So are they bluish purple? Are they greenish? Are they somewhere between blue-green? So if I look at mine right now, it's really hard to tell. You're not going to really be able to see much. But, I mean, let's get real on the lighting here. And on Facebook Live, having the worst lighting of life. Facebook, you need to fix that. Okay, so you can't see my veins because of the light glare. But my veins are kind of somewhere in between. They're bluish green. They're not a distinct blue and they're not a distinct green. So I put them in between. Or purplish would go with the blue. So if you can look at your wrist and tell me if you have, does anyone have very distinct bluish purple veins? I'm very curious to know because I look at mine and I'm like, I can't tell. They kind of look blue. They kind of look green. And I'm like, I don't know. But that is an option, is that if bluish green is an option, then that's a thing. It's an actual thing. The third thing you want to look at is your undertones. So do you have a cool or warm undertone? So you're like, what are you talking about? I would have been the same. So a cool undertone is like, is it pinkish? Is it a pinkish undertone? One second. Teddy, come here. Come here. He keeps knocking his bowl and it's driving me bananas. Sit down. You want to come on the camera? Want to come help out with the video? Okay, so here's Teddy. Teddy would be, let's see, I can't see Teddy's veins. So Teddy would be a neutral color. So pretty sure they're just blue. Okay, so cool pinkish color. So like the way I usually say it is if you get a really good tan, even if you barely tan, but if you tan, is it more brown or is it more like a red tan? And that's sort of an easy way to tell. So If you're cool, you have pinkish undertones. So like maybe like rosier cheeks, maybe you'll have, you know, like it looks like I have rosier cheeks, but I have like zero redness in my face, almost next to none. This is blush. So I really don't have a lot of pinkish. I know for sure I am not cool. Warm is like a golden undertone, so almost more yellow. So if you're like, I don't look yellow, but if you get a tan and that tan turns to like a brownish tan, then you're likely a golden undertone. So you're likely a warm undertone, not cool. This always confuses me because I think warm pink rather than cool pink. I don't know. For me, it confuses me. So if you're both, and this is a thing, if you are both and you look at yourself and you're like, oh, I've got red undertones, but I'm also like, cool, then that's also a thing. That's okay too. Or if you're like me, I'm really neither. I'm neither cool nor warm, because if I get a tan, if I get like a really good tan, it's mostly brown, but I can burn. So I do get some redness. So I'm kind of like one of those weirdos that's like, I'm a neither. And that's a thing. So, hey, Sonia. Okay, so colors you prefer to wear. This is another thing that you can decide if you are like a warm or cool. When you go to pick eyeshadow color, okay, or any colors in general, even your clothing color, do you gravitate more to greens, yellows, browns, pinks? Or do you gravitate more to green, blues, purples? So which one are you gravitating more towards? Once again, I am a special case. I gravitate to both. So I love wearing like pinkish eyeshadow. I love wearing blues. I love wearing greens. I will wear purples any day. I wear it all. So what does that have to do with your foundation shade? Well, it kind of puts me in that neutral area. So for example, okay, so if you're like, honestly, like I think of my best friend who's like pale of the pale, and she's a sweetheart, but she's very white. So she would be, in our foundation color, she would be a very light color, which is called Scarlet. It almost looks like, I don't know if you can see, it's really hard to tell the shades on here, but this is like the lightest color we have. So compared to the darkest color I'm going to talk about, it's not the darkest, this is the lightest color we have. And when I look at her skin, she would be definitely very light. Okay, so she's going with the lightest one. If you can look at yourself and say, okay, I'm very light, I am going to guess 100% that she probably has bluish veins, okay? And then she's probably cool. So she's got lots of pink undertones, which is fair. And then she's also probably like gravitates more to greens, browns, pinks for her eyes, or colors in general. So that is the lightest one. Then we have two shades, and you're going to find some foundations are the same idea where they have two shades. So we have Organza and we have Velour, and these two are the same shade, but I don't know if you can tell on camera. Oh, actually, if you put them against my black shirt, you can see better. So see this one here that I'm tapping with my finger? That one's Organza. And this one is Velour. So what you notice is the Organza one has more of an orangey pink tone to it. The Velour one has more of a yellowish tone to it. The difference between these two is that one is for, like, the orangey one would be really good for someone who is light, someone who is bluish to purple veins, someone who is pinkish undertones, and someone who prefers greens, yellows, browns, pinks like to wear on their eyes. So that would be Organza. It has more of a orangey tone to cut down the pinks and to go better with the cool tones of the pink undertones, if that makes sense. Velour, I like to just talk about undertones. I find that's the easiest. Velour is more yellow undertones. I can wear this color when I'm really, really pale. I use our spray tan all the time on my face, so that's moved me up a shade, and I'll talk about that in a second. But this is great for yellowish tones, so people that get a tan, these people get tan. If they do get a tan, it's like a burn or it's like a reddish tan. If these people with the yellow tinge get a tan, it's like a golden tan or more of like a brown tan, okay? Then you have our taffeta, which is me. I am so neutral. So this one's taffeta. I am super neutral. So this one matches me because I like all sorts of colors on my eyes. It matches me because my veins are in between blue and green. It matches me because I'm both cool and I'm not really neither. I'm like warm or cool. I can pull off taffeta like no problem because my skin tone is kind of just neutral, and that's such a thing. So you're either, you know, reddish, yellowish, or neutral. I just ask you, and that's totally fine. So if you send me a selfie, I can 100% tell you what you look like in terms of what your foundation shade should be. In our shades, I don't know shades from like other companies, but I can tell you what your undertones are. I can tell you what, you know, you can answer these questions yourself and we can figure it out. This one is chiffon. This one is got a bit more. If I put it up next to taffeta, you can see that it is quite a bit darker, but it also has more of a reddish tinge to it. This is great for people that have a reddish undertone again, and then we move up from there. So we have like a million other shades. If you have darker skin, we've included, I think we have 13 foundation shades now. That's one of the hardest. So I used to teach a class that was at the high school level, which was a cosmetology class. And I had a lot of African American girls in that class. And they're like, Miss, we don't wear foundation because honestly, you go to the store and we cannot find a shade that matches us. So because if you look at African American skin, almost everybody has a different shade. And it's like, they have to add a little bit of lighter color to make it lighten it up, or they can't get that direct shade. So I really, really appreciate that Unique went and got, you know, 3 different shades for the darker skin tone so that it's not as, you know, stressful to find it. And yeah, they probably still need to add in a little bit of a lighter shade to get it the right color, but it's a lot less than it used to be. The other thing is concealer. So when you're going to match your concealer, you should always go a shade lighter with your concealer than your foundation. If you are trying to conceal things, so like I conceal my dark circles every single day because they're dark, and I've been using actually organza because organza has like the reddish pigment in this, or the orangey pigment in this, is great for color correcting the blues that are underneath. So if you go back to the color wheel, it's great for correcting the blues that are under my eyes, which blue, black, purple, like it's the best thing for it. So that's what I have been using. I have used Velour in the past, but I find this gives way better coverage in terms of correcting the color. We do need to get a color corrector. I used one at the wedding on Saturday that I was in. They used a color corrector on me and it was fabulous. So I may go out and buy one of those because I feel like that's the best way to get rid of those dark circles. If you're looking to cover up redness, again, I would probably use organza because of the red in your like pimples or redness in your skin that you're using. I would use this to color correct that out. So that's been sort of my favorite new concealer. If you are, so like, let's say, if you are the lightest foundation, then you are going to have to buy the lightest concealer and just match them, and that's fine. But if you're like, let's say, Velour or organza, so these two they are like a shade up from Scarlet, you can see are all kind of, this one's the lightest. You would get this concealer to go with these foundations. So then you would go with one of these foundations to go with the next. So one of these in concealer color to go with the next 2 foundations, if that makes sense. Because you always want to go a shade lighter. So hope that was helpful. If you found it interesting, if you found it valuable, if you feel like someone needs to know this, feel free to share the broadcast. I'd really appreciate it. And if that helped you at all, send me a message. Give me a comment below saying thank you or that actually helped. I had no idea how to pick foundation. I sure didn't. 3 years ago, I would have had no idea to walk into a store and how to buy it. Remember, the color and the lighting is not always the best in there. So it's really cool to be able to help women do this now. So thanks again for watching. Have a fabulous Tuesday night, and we will see you all tomorrow.